Joseph Staten was one of the key creative architects behind Halo. He wrote large portions of Halo 1 through 3, ODST, Reach, and helped craft the universe through excellent world building by writing Contact Harvest, one of the best Halo books ever written. And now, he's supposedly leaving 343 Industries. Does this mean 343 is finally and officially being taken off of their metaphorical life support? Is this the final nail in the franchise's coffin? Well, if that's your current thought process, you're clearly not alone. It seems that every big-time Halo creator feels the same way. Hidden Xperia, Late Night Gaming, Rocket Sloth, even General Heed are worried, and rightfully so. I don't think I need to tell you that 343 doesn't exactly have a successful track record. They've been the subject of a non-stop stream of horrible media coverage and the outrage of an incalculable number of fans since their inception.
Halo's destruction was your error, and you rightly bear the blame.
But that's not what I want to talk about today. While yes, I'm saddened by Joe's departure, I don't view his exit as the big deadly bombshell that everyone else claims it to be. First of all, his position at 343 was always going to be temporary. When the announcement that he was joining the studio was made, 343 was very clear that this was a momentary thing, stating that he was returning to Halo for a bit. Another important caveat that I see no one mentioning is that Joe is taking a position likely the same one he had before joining 343 at Xbox Publishing. He's not leaving Microsoft. If that were the case, I'd be far more concerned. No, he's just leaving 343, which is only one small extension of Microsoft to begin with. So why did Joe even join 343 if he was just going to bail a little over a year past Halo Infinite's release? Well, that's his job. He goes to a struggling game studio, patches some holes on the sinking ship, then helps course correct once things are in order. At least, that's how it seems. I can't think of anyone more experienced in that area either. Think about it. He was part of one of the most infamous and notoriously difficult video game development crunches of all time with Halo 2. And how did Halo 2 turn out? Amazing. Okay, let's look at a few examples of games he's worked as a creative director for. Trust me, I have a point. Starting with ReCore by Armature Studios. ReCore may not have been a resounding success and may have received some subpar reviews, but the studio behind it would go on to create some genuinely amazing stuff afterwards. They would help port Resident Evil 4 to VR, which would end up winning Best VR AR Game at the 2021 Game Awards. They also helped develop Ark Survival Evolved's DLC, Genesis, which is of debatable quality. Staten served as creative director for ReCore, left the studio, then they proceeded to produce something pretty cool. Quantum Break by Remedy Entertainment was great and pretty inventive too, combining their excellent game development skills and an entire TV show within the game. Each episode would play out between large story junctions and would vary slightly depending on the choices you made during gameplay. Afterwards, Remedy would go on to create Control, which also had great critical success. Guess what? Joe was the creative director for Quantum Break. Super Lucky's Tale was a cutesy Xbox exclusive platformer aimed to be nostalgic and similar to games like Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie. Joseph Staten served as a creative director, but unfortunately it was plagued by clunky controls, annoying mechanics that didn't feel fleshed out, and general bugginess. Shortly after, a complete remake of the original title, New Super Lucky's Tale, was released with the goal of restructuring the entire game. It was a major improvement, making it genuinely fun. The original Super Lucky's Tale was a chore to play, but New Super Lucky's Tale wasn't. It was enjoyable. Sunset Overdrive by Insomniac Games also had help from Joseph Staten, who was, once again, the senior creative director. Sunset Overdrive was met with favorable reviews, but what the studio would produce shortly after was their true achievement: Spider-Man. Originally exclusive to the PS4, but thanks to its most recent PC release, even I have had the opportunity to sink my teeth into this amazing game. Crackdown 3 by Sumo Digital was in development hell for years, most likely due to their lofty goals with the game's multiplayer mode. Joseph Staten would once again assume the role of senior creative director for the game, and this is likely why the game finally released and in a stable state, no less. Crackdown 3 wasn't a terrible game, but it failed to meet people's expectations, and because of that, didn't favor so well in the eyes of the public. Sumo Digital would then go on to aid in the development of the Forza games, including Forza Horizon 4, which is one of the most impressive racing games of all time. Do you see the pattern here? Every studio that he works with ends up making something fantastic shortly after he's left. He joins the team, figures out what the issues are with development, then these groups go on to make something even better than before. Perhaps he's leaving 343 because his work there is done. Maybe he finally fixed all the issues that have been plaguing the company for years, and now that things are in better shape, he's free to move on to the next project. I can't say this is absolutely what's happening, but given all the evidence I've just laid before you, I'd say a pretty convincing argument can be made that Halo isn't doomed. The current studio head of 343 has also proven himself to be more than capable. Pierre Hintz joined 343 in 2018 and was tasked with the absurdly difficult job of fixing the Master Chief Collection. In case you didn't know, when Halo the Master Chief Collection first released back in 2014, it was an absolute mess. Multiplayer was almost completely broken, and the game as a whole was barely even functional. Enter Pierre, and a few years later, the game is finally being fixed, and its litany of issues are actually being addressed. Not only that, but the entire collection would be ported to PC and receive tons of brand new features. Brand new content in games that are, in some cases, over 20 years old. Nowadays, MCC is in an incredible state, and a lot of the titles within the collection are actually in a better place than they were when the games first released. Now suddenly, the previous 343 studio head, Bonnie Ross, has left, and Pierre Hintz, the guy responsible for spearheading the updating of the Master Chief Collection, is now in charge of 343 as a whole. Let's do the math here. It sounds to me like the guy was presented with a nearly impossible task, and he didn't just deliver, but instead went above and beyond. So guess what? He got a promotion. So no, I don't think this spells the end for Halo. Not really. I think Halo is in very capable hands now, and because of that, Joseph Staten is no longer needed at the studio. His job is hopefully done. He's course-corrected the ship that is 343, and we can only hope that he believes it's now in good shape. Do I wish he would stick around? Of course I do. Do I wish he would play a bigger part in whatever the next Halo story is? Most definitely. But his exit isn't the end, my friends. Maybe I'm just being foolishly optimistic when I say this, but maybe, just maybe, it's a new beginning.
I miss you.
Wake me when you need me.